Welcome to the No Direction Podcast, where we say whatever we want and invite guests who do the same. We're here to prove that conversations can be raw, real, and sometimes downright hilarious, even when we don't see eye to eye. So buckle up, grab a drink, and let's dive into the unfiltered world of opinions and insights. It's going to be a bumpy, profanity-laden ride. Everything on?
Fancy.
Isn't it? That's why I'm here. That's why I pay the big bucks
That's
to be
right,
here, because I have disposable income right now. All right.
Don't we all?
Jayson Echternacht. Jayson, how do you want me to describe you? What do you want? What do you want? No, not a serial entrepreneur. Father of everybody.
Sure.
Father to all.
Dad.
Girl. You have boys every once in a while.
Yeah, occasionally.
Girl dad / community volunteer, right?
Sure.
For the right amount of money.
The right amount. That's right.
I'll volunteer for anything
big bucks getting
with
paid
the right
for
amount of money.
Sports.
Right, yeah.
Sports coaching.
Yeah, sports coaching. That's so speaking of sports coaching, so you teach sports, or not teach, you coach sports, and you have coached sports, and it's the most underappreciated job, I think.
Yeah.
Next to being a school teacher, of course. School teachers and police officers. And, okay, there's a long list of underappreciated jobs. But sports coach,
Yes.
that's a big job.
It is.
Yeah. What is the biggest pain point in being a sport coach? I know what your answer is going to be because it's the same answer my husband gives me. But what's the biggest pain point of being a sport coach?
What do I like the best about it?
No, the pain point.
Pain?
The hardest part. The most discouraging, why you decide at the end of every season that you're done, you don't want to come back, but then you always inevitably come back. What is the thing that sucks
question.
the most?
Oh, gosh. Probably dealing with the outside distractions, whether that's parents or administrators or...
Okay.
That would cause me maybe not to want to come back eventually, but
right,
yeah.
My husband, whether he's coaching or he's an official of some sort, be it an umpire or whatever. Well, he's really only ever been an umpire, but coaching or being an umpire, he always says the parents are the ones that ruin everything.
Yeah,
they suck.
I would agree. And I'm probably, unfortunately, that guy a few times.
I feel like you are that guy. So you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. I hate parents as a coach, but as a parent.
You would think as a coach that knows that I would tone it down.
I think coaches are sometimes the worst. So the parents that I've seen in the past, especially in Little League, are the ones that have coaches for parents a lot of times.
Yeah, it's hard to turn it off and just be a spectator.
Right. Sit back and relax.
Yeah, even though my youngest is 11 and plays soccer, I want her to win.
Yeah, but your 11-year-old, though, is pretty intense.
She is.
And is she the most, I don't know. Is she the one that you see being the most competitive out of all of your kids? How many kids do you have?
Well, we have 4 daughters.
Okay.
And then she is the youngest. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's a youngest thing, but also she's just from the get-go. I mean, she's played soccer since she was 4. Right. And she just got it and went and wanted to win from day one. So I didn't have to push at all.
Yeah. Well, I know her. I've had many conversations with her, and she is truly a wonderful human being, but you can tell just by her behavior, she's intense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's like, okay, where's the next challenge?
She said to me just the other day that, I said, what do you want to do when you grow up? I know you're just 11, and that's a tough question to answer at 11 years old, but we ask I want to play for the Portland Thorns. That's what she wants to do. She wants to play soccer.
Okay,
so,
great.
Yeah, go for it, girl.
I love it. Yeah. That's fantastic. Do you see, as a sport coach, do you see, especially since you have daughters, that women tend to have harder times in sports as far as like bringing an audience in
being
being taken seriously as an athlete,
Sure.
those kinds of things.
I'm sure, absolutely. I can admittedly say that watching girls' sports, as I'm a sports guy, I don't care what it is. I have my favorites, and I
Right.
played baseball in college, and so that one is always near and dear to my heart. But I love watching sports, but watching especially younger age girls where you might not score very many goals, or in basketball, my daughter that's a freshman this year played basketball at a young age, and it's like 10-8 at the end of the game, and you're like, oh my goodness.
There's a huge gap with male and female sports.
Sure.
So when my son was 8, he was a highly competitive baseball player. When my daughter was 8, her whole age group could barely get the ball over home plate when they were pitching.
Yes.
Like it was a struggle, and it's weird because they both grew up in the same household. They were both given the same opportunities, the same cheering team, all of that stuff. And it's just like it hits earlier for boys than it is for girls, and girls it hits later. But why do you think it is that the sports as a whole don't bring in the audience that male sports do? Because I'm guilty of it.
Yeah.
I don't find a lot of I don't tend to lean towards watching women's basketball, or I really like watching softball. I think that's fun to watch, but women's sports as a whole, what do you, like in your personal opinion?
These are great questions. I don't know. I think a lot of these sports tend to be long. So a baseball game, as you know, being a wife of a baseball coach and your son played, those games can take a long time.
Right.
So I don't know.
But we'll sit there and watch men play.
Well, sure, but the speed of the game, maybe. I have all daughters, so by all means, I'm a girl guy, and I'm in. I love watching. I don't care what they're doing, but boys are faster, bigger. I mean, not all of them all the time, but stronger. The game goes faster. They can hit it further. They can shoot farther out. I was so surprised in basketball that at 7th grade, they're playing on a 10-foot hoop. They can't shoot but 5 feet away from the basket.
Right.
And it's not a bad thing. It's not a knock. It's just the way it is, where probably a 7th grade basketball boy can shoot a 3-pointer.
Right. Yeah.
The girl's
different
not even
strengths.
going to hit the rim, unfortunately. And it's just so I don't know. I would say maybe the speed and.
What about when they get older and they could compete against each other? So, for instance, basketball, right? Women's basketball, men's basketball. I truly believe that if you put a women's team and a men's team on the same court, you'd have a great competition between the two.
Sure.
I'm not sure which one would win or lose, but I feel like there's a competitiveness there and a skill level that's there that they could battle it out and be really close.
Yeah, absolutely.
But even in pro sports, they struggle to find the audience. I think it's getting better now, and it could just be a marketing piece, and people were just always so ingrained into going to certain sporting events because they were the ones that got all the attention. They had the halftime shows. They had the good DJs. They had the whole customer experience for the entire thing.
Yeah. I think maybe there's so many options, and obviously there's 24 hours in a day.
Right.
So I go to a men's whatever, and then, oh, crap, I need to watch my daughters too. So you just run out of, I don't know, maybe. You run out of time, there's too many choices, and you got to pick and choose. Not that it's bad, but. I
saw a really good reel the other day, and these people had taken a clip of a women's soccer game, so it was highlights from a women's soccer game, and then they used digital editing to make the women men on the field. But it was the same, they were doing the same exact moves. It was just the digital editing kind of put like a man's head on there. And it's funny, I watched it the entire first time and didn't catch on. I'm like, because the way that they present the reel to you is watch this closely because there's a surprise at the end. So I'm like watching it closely, like, what is the surprise? What is the surprise? And you get to the end and they take all of the digital editing off, and every single player on the field is, or the pitch or whatever you call a soccer field. I think it's a soccer pitch.
Yeah, the pitch.
And so every single player out there was a female. But the highlight reel, it looked like it was all male. And then I went through and watched it again, and the only ones that they changed into a male were the ones who were kind of involved with the play. But if you looked on the outside and looked at all the other players who weren't involved in that particular play, they were all female. And the game was awesome. It was exciting. There were slide tackles and, all kinds of dirty games that happen in a man's sport. The pace of play was fantastic.
Soccer is one of those sports that, if you watch like Olympics and older group, the guys tend to flop more and be weenies when someone touches them, and the girls get after it. Get after it.
Do you think it's because the girls feel like they have something to prove? They're like, I'm not going to flop over. Just get over your shit. Let's go.
Could be. Maybe the guys are all prima donnas. I don't know.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why my husband has a hard time getting into soccer is because of the flops.
Oh, yeah.
He's like...
My toughest thing, and my sister played at Concordia when it was still around, and they were like really good. Went to the final 8 for NAIA in college all the time. Awesome program. But it's even hard. It was hard for me to watch then because you can tie 0-0 after an entire game, and you're done. Right. I don't want to play a game and end 0-0. Yeah. I just exerted a lot of energy, time. I practiced really hard. The game's over and nobody scored, or it's 1-1 or whatever it is. Like, what? Right. No. That's bullshit. But,
it's like, and you tie at the end, and clearly there's no winner. You can look at the statistics and say, okay, this team clearly did a better job.
Sure.
But when there's no clear winner.
No, the standings say tie.
Yeah, and it's anticlimactic. So when you leave as a fan, you're like, okay, well, that was exhilarating for a second whenever they got close to the goal, but then they didn't.
And I couldn't do it. I played sports my whole life, mainly football and baseball growing up. I played soccer one year, and they run all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of
I'm not a fan of the running either.
They asked me to play track. What do you guys do? We just run.
We run.
Oh, bummer. I saw a shirt one time that it was a different sport. It was track. Yeah. And their shirt on the back said, "Our sport is your sport's punishment," because most people run when they get in trouble.
Right. You run poles.
At the end of practice, you're conditioning, and nobody likes it. It's the bad part of practice. Right. Baseball, football. We're running. Now, you run in football, but it's for 15 seconds, and you stop. But, that made sense to me.
And you run in basketball, but it's more of a trot, and it's down to one end or the other. Yeah. I did the terrain race with a friend of mine who plays basketball all the time. And it was just under 2 miles. And of that 2 miles, I would say 1.5 miles of it was meant for you to run. Okay, the rest of it was like obstacle course stuff. Sure. And we were running. He's like, I'm a basketball player. I can't do this. I can't do this running thing. I was like, don't you run when you play basketball? He goes, for a short amount of time, and then we stop, and then we dribble a little bit. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, that's true.
I recently, beginning of last month, was like, okay, I've been a sports guy, in shape, worked out, and did stuff to get stronger and better. Yeah. But it's been a few years since
just a couple?
Just a handful of years. My dad's dad passed away when he was young. I never even met him. Heart attack. And so you start getting older and you're thinking about these things, and I need to watch what I eat, maybe mix in a jug, run, whatever here and there. So I started running up at Barlow.
And for those who are listening and have no idea what that means, is it's all hills. Like when your parents said I walked uphill both ways in the snow, that's where this high school is. Yeah. It's literally uphill the entire way.
And a lot of people were on the track or the football field, so I would run on the baseball field. It was a little hilly and lumpy and whatever.
Do you ever run through the trails?
I haven't since I went to school there a couple of times, but Yeah, that's intense too. Cross country, crazy.
Yeah.
But I was like, running really sucks.
Yes, it does.
I
It
had
sucks until you get used to it.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, okay, the
And
adrenaline
my
kicks in.
timing
And
was with everything that I have going on,
Yeah.
kids and sports and work and everything. It was like 9:00 at night is when I
Right.
could go do it. So it's dark and uneventful,
right.
but I got through it. And
Good.
I'm still trying. I think I haven't done it for a week, and I need to get back into it. But yeah, running, man.
Good for you.
It's not easy.
No, it's not.
It's not fun. It's not easy.
The hardest part about running or really starting anything is starting.
Yeah.
You know, you get to the point of, okay, if I can just start and I can get into a routine, I could get going.
Well, and you think as like a former athlete that it wasn't super fi D1 college, but I played college baseball.
Right.
I can do this.
Yeah, you were athletic.
I can jog. Yeah, I've done
Yeah.
this before. Yeah. And there was a lot of walking in the beginning. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
And it was like sucking air and where's the oxygen? It was not fun. So I got to keep it up otherwise.
When I started getting back into working out, it was right after I had my bariatric surgery. And so my first part of just getting exercise, I was in my flip-flops, just walking in my neighborhood, just trying to get that surgery, funk out of my system. And then I graduated to wearing tennis shoes and walking a little bit faster. And then I would jog about 20 feet and walk for a mile and, those kinds of things, maybe do 2 whole miles. And then within a year of having my surgery, I was out and I was invited to run in Hood to Coast. And so that's 3 different legs. You go from Mount Hood to the coast, and it's 190 miles, and it's a relay. So I have 3 legs, and they average about 6 miles a piece-ish. And so that was the biggest thing I had ever done. And it was really hard, but it was fun in a weird way. It's like everybody in your van is suffering just like you are with the sleep deprivation. Nobody can poop. You're eating, but you don't want to eat too much. You're somewhat dehydrated.
I don't know how you guys do that because
Yeah.
I've been asked. I mean, this is a long-running tradition every year that people come from all over to do.
Yes.
I've been asked multiple times. Number one, there's no way I'm in shape enough to do it by the time it shows up.
Maybe you will this next year.
You could.
Also, my team has room. It has an opening. And how our van would be so fun.
I just don't. I mean, running now, like you said, I'll run for a couple laps around the track and then might need to walk for a lap or 2 and then pick it back up and 3-ish miles.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
good.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah,
you have to start somewhere.
Graduate to 6 and hills and whew.
Well, and then I quasi trained for Hood to Coast this year, and what I mean by quasi trained is I think I went out and ran twice.
Okay.
So no judgments. So I didn't train hardly at all, and the second time I went out to run, my friend that I went with said, "Hey, do you want to do a marathon?" And I was like, into 1 mile of running. I was dying. It was hot. And I looked at her like, bitch, do you want to get stabbed? What are you talking about right now?
Those are like 25-ish or something?
They're 26, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
I've had zero desire to do that. I think if I trained to do it, I'd feel better. I fell out of working out.
My problem is I'm so competitive, as we discussed before, and I'm not going to be the guy that's walking in the Hood to Coast.
Right.
Or a marathon.
Yeah.
So I'd have to really train.
Train hard.
Yeah.
Well, you got a year.
I know.
You got a year.
That should be enough time, I would think.
It's enough. It's
I'm starting to fall apart,
Take
too,
your youngest out with you to go run,
Yeah.
and she'll encourage you because you'll look at her and you'll say, okay, look, you're 11, right?
11,
you're
yeah.
11, and you're literally running circles around me.
We'll go run on the soccer field now and do like drills, and you're running. Not like you would.
You're getting some cardio.
You're getting some exercise.
Yeah.
And a couple times we're like, let's run the width of the football field, not the whole 100 yards crazy, but let's just go. I think it's 50-ish.
Okay.
yards.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's just sprinting down to the end, and I'm sucking
Dying.
air and like,
Bent
what
over.
the crap? How is this 11-year-old
Yeah.
girl?
Well,
I'm a college athlete.
You're like,
crying out.
I shouldn't be this out of shape.
No.
It happens when you start sitting.
It gets bad. I don't know what age I would say, but
Probably when you started getting into a career where you sat all the time.
yeah, probably.
And then you got busy and
But I did
working out was on the side.
like old man softball. And I blew out my Achilles, and I was only like 33. I think it was like 10 years ago. So
yeah.
but
Well, and
you
it
just
probably got
stop-
into your head too.
Well, and you just stop working out and staying in shape, and then you go, oh, I can go out there and throw as hard as I want, or no, you cannot.
No.
I told my wife recently that, because I get asked all the time, do you want to play on an adult softball or baseball or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Hey, come do this. And I was like, I'm going to have to start saying no. Or my other option is I can get in shape. But,
Drinking league. That's your option.
But
drinking
doing
league.
nothing and just saying no is
Yeah,
a lot easier.
It is.
But
It is.
I don't
Yeah,
want
I've always wanted to start an adult league something with my husband. And every time I bring it up to him, he goes, I can't play sports with you. And I said, well, why not? And he goes, because you refuse to take it seriously. And it pisses me off. I'm like, it's literally adult league softball. Like, it's called slow pitch, and people jog to first base because their asses are too fat to run to first base.
Well, I think technically it's called slow pitch because they're just lobbing it.
Well, it's still slow.
Well, yeah. But
You don't have to move slow, but
can
I've
still
seen
hit it
seen
and run
people.
fast, but-
I've seen the old guys that play that slow pitch, and they're
Yeah.
not necessarily athletic.
No.
No.
You don't have to be.
No, you don't. That's and that's the fun part about it. It's like living the glory days over again, but in such a way that you just go out and have fun.
Yeah.
And that's what I told him. I said, let's just go have fun. He's competitive like you. He doesn't know how to just go have fun with a
It's hard to turn
game.
it off. I mean, I will admit, like playing Candyland.
Oh my God. I was just going to say,
I want to
even playing
pound them
board
into
games.
submission.
Yeah.
And my wife's looking at me like, are you kidding me right
Yeah.
now? Like, they're tiny when
Yeah.
they were a lot younger.
Yeah. Mike goes, I'm not going to let them win. They have to beat me.
And I do say that in
like,
front of my
what?
daughter, and maybe she's gotten a little bit. She had plenty on her own, but my wife is like, "You're playing Candyland, dude." Yeah, I know, but I don't play for fun or to like. Do people play to lose? No.
I don't have enough time on this earth. I have to do everything 100%.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's probably a little bit of that, but also just you get beat into you, or you used to. Like, I mean, there was that clip. I love it. You've probably seen it with the dad with the baseball players, and he's like, "Just so we are all clear, when we come to the field, we play to win. And if your dad tells you, oh, it's fine, just have fun," he says, "Your dad's a loser." And it's my favorite. I mean, it goes around every now and then viral. And it's been around. I'll have to find it and show it to you. But like, it cracks me up. Like, yeah, like I don't play for fun.
They're not necessarily wrong. I think that when you go and when you commit to a sport, you owe it to your team to give 100%.
Sure.
100%.
Absolutely.
You just owe it to your team. And
As a coach, we ask that of the players. Like, you're here. We don't have to get into, we don't make any money and our time is valuable and all that. But like, we're all here together.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, you don't coach high school sports because you want the money. You do it because you love the
Especially baseball
sport.
with a real baseball field where you have to spend all the time there mowing and
Yeah.
all that too. But yeah, I mean, we're asking for you to come out and play hard for a couple hours a day. And
Right.
that doesn't seem too hard, but
That's why I always get frustrated at the parents who force their kids to do a team sport. Because if you're forcing your child to do a team sport and they're just out there because you made them go out there, then they're not supporting their team the right way, the way that they should be supporting their team.
For the right reason.
Like maybe they should be doing an individual team sport. Like maybe track is better for them, or singles tennis.
Golf.
Golf is another great one, or maybe it's just an activity, or like the YMCA. The YMCA is great for kids who are trying out new and fun and different things. But there's some leagues where you have your child play the sport because you want them to get out there and get exercise and have the camaraderie of the team. And that's lovely and that's fantastic.
Sure.
And I 100% think all kids should have that exposure. But if your child doesn't want to go out there, especially the younger that they are, the entire team suffers from that one kid.
I've noticed my youngest plays club soccer, and she's on 2 teams this year, her age group and then a older team. And the club sports, they'll take anybody because they're paying
thousands of dollars.
And they're in it to make money. I mean,
right.
Somehow these club sports say they're non-profits, but I don't.
How is that possible?
I'm trying to figure out what the rule is, because if that's the case, then my bank account would be a little bit bigger too every year. But
you'd also have to volunteer more.
True.
At the club sport.
That's true.
Yeah. The true nonprofits, like the Little Leagues and the Babe Ruth Leagues and things like that, I mean, they rely heavily on parent volunteers. Yeah. Also, PSA, if your child plays sports and it's a nonprofit and you're not volunteering for something, go ask them how you can volunteer.
Oh, sure.
Because if you're complaining because things aren't getting done and you're not choosing to volunteer, that's on you, buddy. Mm-hmm. That is on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go volunteer.
It turned into, there's some girls on her team that look like. Now, I do say that an 11-year-old probably, not a lot of them, will take their athletic career seriously at 11 years old.
Your daughter does.
She does.
Yeah.
She does.
But she's unique in that.
I haven't had to push too much for that, but same conversations. Like we say, I don't want to go to practice today. You signed up for this.
Yeah. Well, there's a difference between not wanting to go to practice because you're being lazy or you just don't feel like it that day versus not wanting to play the sport at all. And your parents like, no, you have to go do a sport.
Yeah, I feel like it maybe has turned into a little more, and it could have been this way back in the day, but it's like further babysitting.
Yes, absolutely.
Not babysitting, but daycare, whatever term you want to use. Mm-hmm. I'm at work till 5. Yeah. My kid gets out at 3. Go play football, Johnny, and at least he's taken care of until I'm done with work.
For $75 for the season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
And there's some girls on the club team that you think, I told her, I was like, I told my wife, maybe I'm a jerk, but if my daughter lollygagged for $3,000 bill to play club sports, I'm probably going to tell her next year, if you want to play this, we can play rec for...
Yeah, let's go do something else.
$100, or you want to? Yeah, let's try.
I'll put my $3,000 into a vacation somewhere.
Let's try something else. And I don't know if that's good, bad, and different, but yeah. I mean,
well, and I'd love to take this conversation further. I know a guy who is a sports agent in the area, and I want to have him on the podcast, and I want to talk to him and get his opinion as a sport agent on how kids' sports today, how they're producing athletes versus how they did 10 or 15 years ago, because he's been a sport agent for years, and have him come on and talk to him about the development at a younger age. And I'm not saying that you necessarily need to train an 11-year-old to join professional athletics. That's not what I'm talking about. But it's just, just the skills and just the basics that you're instilling, the sportsmanship, those kinds of things. How do they affect those kids who now want to go play professionally or even just get into college, right? A decent college and play that sport.
There's a lot more options with clubs now. There's clubs everywhere. Club soccer by itself, there's one in Clackamas, there's one in Gresham, there's 42 on the west side. There's a lot more options. Back in the day, we could play for our school.
Nike.
Or one option outside of your school. So
FC or whatever. What was it called?
I don't remember what that was.
Everybody played, and they had the white and black Adidas coats with their logos on it or something.
What did they call it for soccer? It was like classic soccer. And
yeah.
But it's more competitive because there's one choice. Mm-hmm. And you can't put 45 kids on a soccer team.
Right.
You can have 12.
Yeah.
15.
Even though they all pay $3,000. I mean, if they paid me $3,000, I'd put 45 kids on the same team.
That's why they make an A team, a B team, or whatever, and everyone plays.
We'll just go through the alphabet. You just keep bringing me your money.
Yeah. So I think back in the day, there was a lot more, or not a lot of options, so it was really competitive. And the kids that actually wanted to be there were there.
Right.
Because the other kids are going to get cut probably
Yeah.
anyways. And so,
Well, and I think sports or activities, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a sport, but something that you're involved where other people are relying on you is a good lesson for kids to learn. And so when they say things like, I don't feel like going to practice, I mean, sometimes honor that, right? Especially with
I don't
girls.
feel like going to work every day either.
Right. Well, sometimes with girls, and I think this is, I think because we have pushed through so much and we've been kind of required to just live our lives. So when we're on our menstrual cycle, for instance, we don't necessarily feel like doing anything. And we get really cranky because our hormones are out of whack and all that stuff. And so dealing with girls in sports, it's a little bit different when they say, I don't want to go. And you're a dad and you're like, why? And they're like, I don't want to tell you why. I just don't want to go today.
Yeah. I've heard that before. Now I know.
Yeah. You're just like, okay.
You think I know by now
just
because
back
I've
up.
had girls
Yeah.
for a while, but
Yeah. I mean, it's like, so some women, when they have their periods, it's the pain is the equivalent of giving childbirth, right? Me, I'm lucky I don't have any of that shit, but some of them, and so they're, going to work, doing whatever. And so with kids, I think, unless they're chronic, I don't want to go, every once in a while, letting them not go.
Sure.
But instilling that you owe this to your team, right? You owe it to yourself to be reliable, and you owe it to your team to be reliable. And I think that being on team sports and being a part of a group, whether that's a theater group or whatever you're doing, I think it's very valuable to kids to learn that skill and work with people they don't necessarily agree
I will
with.
always say that beyond the sports aspect of it, whether it's baseball, soccer, football, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
learning the game and all that and honing your craft, so to speak.
Right.
I met some great friends. I learned how to work hard. I learned how to be a teammate,
Right.
a good teammate, hopefully. If anyone is listening, I was a good
If anybody's
teammate.
listening, you can email me at erin@nodirectionpodcast.com and
the worst.
share
No,
what you think
but
about.
there's a lot of life skills,
Yeah.
which is good. But then when it comes down to it, I want to win too. So I need
Right.
to work as hard as possible. I think I heard when I was younger about it's 2 a.m. and who's shooting baskets? Michael Jordan's shooting baskets.
Right.
Nobody else is.
Yeah.
And he's the best basketball player, in my opinion,
Right.
that has ever played.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
So
Train and integrity when nobody's looking.
yeah, and if you're not winning, then you try harder. Like, I am going to beat these guys. We were just talking about the Gresham-Barlow rivalry.
Right.
Like, I am not going to lose. Like, whatever that means, I'm not going to lose. I can't.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to, number one. Losing sucks.
No,
I
losing
would
does
say
suck.
that to
It does.
everyone.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you're
agree
playing a
with me.
sport, you should be playing to win. And I
Agree
can
with me
take
or not.
sports seriously, but I also want to have fun.
yeah. But,
Yes.
I don't want to hear these wankers from Gresham for the next year straight tell me that they beat us in football. Like, no.
Right. Well, when we went to Barlow, so you and I went to the same high school
Correct.
together, and Gresham High School was our rival. And when we went to Barlow, it seemed like every other year they would beat us, we would beat them. They would beat us,
They
we would
were
beat
really
them.
good in a lot of sports.
Yeah.
And I feel like the landscape has changed a little bit.
It has a little bit. Mm-hmm.
It's probably got a lot of opinions on that.
I
but
think a lot of it is social economics, right? And so a lot of the kids when we were in high school, those same group of kids at different high schools now have different responsibilities because of their socioeconomic situation in life. So they might not have been able to afford sports when they were kids. And so when they first started, it might have been high school. Or maybe they were great athletes when they were kids, but now that they're in high school, their responsibility to their family won't allow them to play sports.
I would agree with that,
those kinds of
absolutely.
things.
You look at like Clackamas area,
Yeah.
tends to be a little more wealthy.
Yeah, and competitive.
And so, maybe the parents can afford the club where
Right. The extra trainers,
the
those
kids
kinds
out
of things.
here or wherever
Yeah.
can't.
Right.
And
mean,
that
there's-
puts you behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, and there's plenty of kids who grow up in a family that doesn't have money and they are great athletes.
Oh, yeah.
And they have like the grit and the gumption to go out there and do what it takes to do it on their own without the fancy trainers.
Sure.
And then there's shit athletes who have the fancy trainers who their parents just constantly pay for them, and then they don't know what they've actually been given, and they just take advantage of it.
I get wanting the
Both
best
sides.
for your kids, too, and I'll pay whatever. I'll do whatever. I'll go run with you at night or whatever. Maybe.
No, your daughter will come run with you. Let's just be real. She wants you to go with her.
But yeah, I mean, there's kids that just get it and have it to begin with. And that's a tough thing as a coach. You can't teach the will or the drive.
No.
Like, I either want to be here and work hard or I don't.
Yeah, you either have it or you don't.
Yeah, and you can be good not working super hard, but I've never been a fan of being mediocre.
Right.
I went to a Division III Lewis and Clark in Portland. Not awesome. Our team wasn't fantastic at a lot of things, baseball included. But I wanted to play. I just wanted to play more. And the football coach, after we did the work study where you could go out and be a ball boy while you drank Mad Dog instead of Gatorade and make some money. Okay, great. I had a coach come up and say, and they were terrible at football, like 60-0 against Willamette and Linfield and all those schools, and just you're a tackling dummy.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, I heard you played football in high school. Yeah. Do you want to play for us? Not really.
No.
Not
I don't want to get my brain smashed in every week.
Not only do you suck, and I'm not a fan of that. My baseball team already sucks. I'd rather just be in one sucky team. But when you get to that level, you need to put in extra work, or you're just going to be mediocre.
Right.
Because I don't know the stats, and I'd have to look it up, but the percentage of kids that go from high school to college sports, whatever level that is minuscule. Very small percentage. And then of those kids that play in college that go on to pro or semi-pro or whatever is even smaller percentage.
Right.
So at that level, like, you need to be into it, or don't waste your time, or my time, or your teammates' time, like you said. So.
Right. Yeah, natural talent only brings you so far.
Yeah.
And then you have to want to do it. You have to have the drive to do it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about, so sports are constantly changing. Usually it's for the safety of the player. But what do you think of the concept that has been tossed around of getting rid of goalposts in football and not having the game necessarily rely on that extra kick by the kicker who really has no football talent? They're just out there because they're a kicker.
Oh, man.
They have great talent as being a kicker, but so many games ride on that one single player when everybody else is busting their ass the entire game. What do you think about the concept of getting rid of that goalpost and getting rid of those extra kicks, those extra points?
It's part of the game that we grew up with. Like,
right.
I get what you're saying, and a lot of times, especially in the higher level, your regular players, I'm doing air quotes, your regular players, they practice the full 2 hours just getting hammered and running and sweating and throwing up.
And being injured and all those. Yeah.
While the kicker kicks for 30 minutes
and is a high school science teacher for his real job or whatever.
So I get that aspect, but I don't know. I grew up. I don't know. I know you need to change, so don't take this the wrong way. But
no. I mean, you're welcome to your opinion.
I am old school, where like I don't want things to change.
Right.
Like, all these fields are getting turfed. I love
a grass muddy,
baseball
gross,
field or whatever.
Yeah.
But it is. I don't know. So removing that, I feel. I don't know. I don't know how you do it. So you just score a touchdown and you're done?
Yeah, there's no extra point.
Okay.
Yeah.
A
touchdown or a two-point conversion.
Two-point
you could
conversion,
still do a two-point conversion. You would just get rid of the kick.
Yeah.
You would get rid of that extra point where, the entire game relies on that one extra point.
You'll have people say that gets rid of, how many colleges are there in Division I? Those kids don't get a scholarship to go to college anymore. Or that guy's
the kicker?
Yeah, the kicker.
They're also on the soccer team, so it doesn't matter.
I mean,
they're on the soccer.
Sometimes, but I don't know.
So, okay.
They've talked about getting rid of the kick off so that...
So basically, 30 kids won't get scholarships.
Well, there's like 200 colleges.
Okay, so 200 kids won't get
I'm
scholarships.
just playing devil's advocate.
No, I get it. I get it. Bring it on. Bring it on. That's
to
why I
be-
brought it up, because I knew you wouldn't agree with
There's
it.
going to be those people say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It's been around since it was maybe not for the first inception.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know
I'm
history
an
of
old
football.
school guy that just...
Yeah. So you're all for the safety progress of the safety stuff. There's a lot of rules that they've put into place because of safety, though,
gotten
too.
crazy.
It has changed a lot.
I was just telling someone the other day that I remember I played running back and linebacker, and I remember coming off once and my finger was completely sideways, and they were like, bite this towel. And then I'm like, what? And it's back in, and tape it up to the next one, and you're good to go.
Oh, so it was just out of joint.
Yeah.
It wasn't
I was
broken.
thinking,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Maybe it was broken.
knows?
Yeah, you just tape it.
How
you
many
splint
concussions did we
it.
have?
Take
back
a salt
in the
pill.
day?
You're fine.
Yeah.
Walk it off.
I'm sure I had a concussion or two.
That's why our generation all has ADD.
Yeah. But safety, obviously. I don't
Right.
want anybody to get hurt or have long-term things. I mean, I don't know if sports are worth that, where your quality of life
Right.
after you're 40 because you got
Right.
beat in the head so much. Like,
Yeah.
no, absolutely not. But, yeah, maybe the kicking is a little different subject. And they talked about the kickoff because you kick the ball off when you score to start
Sure.
the game or second half or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And those guys barrel down and just... I mean, we used to get taught to, like, they called it break the wedge. There'd be a few guys in front of the guy that had the ball, and there'd be guys just running down, and their job was to just
Full speed.
slam through
Yeah.
that wall and break it up. Now that...
A lot of times when you get tackled, it's not at full speed. It's like at medium
Sure.
speed or walking pace or,
Yeah.
off the starting block or whatever, as you're going forward.
Yeah.
And that full speed, that hurts a lot.
Yeah, I didn't...
It takes a second to recover.
When you grow up and you're playing when you're younger, I mean, like you said, you're not hitting very hard.
Right.
You're kind of more hugging and pulling them down. It's not... You don't get those intense slams or helmet to helmet.
Especially
type
the
stuff.
younger you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as you got older...
They're intense.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah.
And then you get in the pile.
Right.
And the pile is completely different. I mean, everything goes.
Yeah.
Nut grabs, eye
All of it.
gouges, biting, like scratching, pinching, like it.
So I played water polo for a little while.
That's
and when we
hard.
played water, yes, it's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
And it's a totally weird world of vindictiveness and cattiness, and I literally want to drown you in the pool. And so before every single meet or game, I don't even know what it's called, we'd have to line up next to the pool and sit down and have our fingers and our toenails checked so that we were well manicured and short,
Not
so we
scratching
wouldn't
people.
scratch the crap out of people. And every female, I don't know about the males, but every female wore 2 swimsuits in case the first one was ripped off of her. And then you were constantly being held under the water.
See, girls are nasty too. Let's
Oh yeah.
go.
Oh yeah. Yes, they are. Girls are worse than men.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, even as an adult, the women. There's a lot of dickish women out there, and I don't see that as much with men. I think you guys resolve things. Just you have a conversation, or you're just not friends
Well,
anymore.
I live with 5 women at my house.
So
and
you know.
It's the grudge thing or the...
It is so
Yeah,
bad.
it is bad.
Yeah.
And
And
guys will just say, let's go. We had boxing gloves in college.
Yeah.
And it was like, you're talking trash? Okay.
Let's go.
Put the gloves on.
box it out.
And then when I beat your ass,
You're done.
then we're good and we
Yeah.
can go hang out and
It's
have
all the
beer or
catty
whatever.
back
Yeah.
behind your back
Mhm.
bullshit. And you would think that after high school it would kind of go away, but it never truly goes away.
Do you think... I feel like they care, about other people's opinion or whatever more. Like guys...
I think
guys
there's a
don't
little bit
care, and
about
it's
it.
like...
But we also squawk.
True.
So we squawk, and I really try hard, but it's not completely out of my system. But I try to choose the people that I talk shit about like my husband. I go to him and I bitch and complain, and then I kind of get it out and move on with my life. But there's some people that still will talk behind your back, and it's bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad. But you don't see that with men. Men don't really do that. I think they're
We might think it more,
Yeah.
too.
And I think you're better secret keepers because you don't care about the gossip and the bullshit. You're just like, okay,
Yeah.
cool secret.
I mean, I'll be honest. I could care less what anybody thinks about me.
Right.
That's not maybe the...
I'm trying to get there in my life.
But I don't know if that's the best quality either. I don't know. There's probably opinions like on anything. But
Sure.
I truly...
Yeah.
If you said, like, hey, you did this or this or this...
Well, it's got to be really freeing.
Yeah. Okay. I guess.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. You're like, sorry.
I'm sorry I made you mad or whatever,
Yeah.
or hurt your feelings. But
Well, and it's nice that people would actually come to you and say that. But I mean, you can be real.
Well,
with
I've had
people.
to learn a little bit because I do have all girls who will hold on to things. I mean, I can hold on to things too. It's not that only girls hold grudges.
And women are more emotional,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not our fault. It happens to us.
Yeah.
we just naturally are.
I probably
we don't
still
try
do it,
to.
and you could ask my wife, but because she would tell you the truth.
Yeah.
But if you did this.
Well, I've seen your Facebook feed, so I know that you still do it.
I mean, I don't
for
care.
sure.
I don't mind ruffling feathers.
No, you don't.
It's not a big, it
No.
is.
Well, you
And
think the
not
way you
much-
think, and you want to attract the same people that think like you, and you don't
Well,
have time for the bullshit of
And I
everybody
don't
else.
think of it as like, I need everyone to see my opinion and I'm right. Like, I don't think that.
Right.
I just don't care.
Okay.
And you can say whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's an asshole. Cool.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt my feelings.
Right.
And I've had to learn a little bit with all girls and being a dad that needs to be a little more soft or loving or whatever. Well, I don't know what the right term is.
Yeah,
I
I think it's just more understanding.
Sure.
And listening, because you actually do a decent job of listening for a guy. Because you and we sat out on a golf course for an entire day, and you drove me around the golf course when we were at a golf tournament. We were taking pictures and just shooting the shit and talking about all kinds of stuff.
My wife will tell you that, like, it's weird. I don't mind. I can talk to anybody. I don't care.
Yeah.
I do sales, and you get to go talk to all different kinds of people.
Right.
Old,
So you could be a
young,
chameleon somewhat.
Sure. I try not to be...
Fake?
Yeah. I don't want to be fake, but, like, I'll talk to the 85-year-old lady, and she'll love me. And I'll talk to little kids, and
they'll love you.
Or guys or girls or whatever it is. I just like talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a different story, where they came from, different experiences.
Yeah.
And I probably, when I was younger, didn't think of it that way. It's like,
Yeah.
you can learn something from everyone or whatever. But now it's more like, I mean, we say it's cliche and stupid, but like, I learn something every day. It's true.
It's true.
I mean,
it's true, especially if you
if
take
you
a second to
don't,
listen.
Then
Yeah.
you're either not listening or maybe you're a few sandwiches short of a picnic. I don't know.
Right.
Because you can always learn something from anybody. My 11-year-old teaches me stuff, and
All the time.
I've always been the guy that says, I'm the dad, or we're the parents.
You do what I say.
You're not right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's not... that.
Yeah.
I hope I'm getting better. I know I still do it, and my wife would tell you that too, but probably the girls.
Well, I
But-
feel like your girls, if I know you like I do, your girls probably take after you somewhat.
Mhm.
And your wife is still with you because she doesn't take your shit. And so
She definitely doesn't.
I'm sure that your girls also don't buy into a lot of it.
No.
So when you bring up this gruff, like roar, like Mike does that all the time, my husband. He brings up this, he's all like, roar, grumbling, and then his 16-year-old daughter looks at him and goes, "You're full of shit.
You're not tough,
You're full
Dad."
of shit."
Yeah, that's true.
Well, speaking about listening to people, I was at a celebration, a 60-year celebration for a retirement community today. And I know a small handful of people there, but there must have been 200 people. And there were maybe 5 people in the entire event who didn't have white hair. So very old age group.
Sure.
And the retirement village, most of the people there that were present were residents. And we were waiting in line for food, and this guy just sparks up a conversation, just says hello, shakes my hand, and we're talking, and he was telling me that he's a Vietnam veteran and he has PTSD. I mean, he's just like spilling everything. I'm not asking anything. He's just giving it all up. And, he's a Vietnam veteran, PTSD. He's getting over his PTSD by writing poems. He has like 6 binders of poems just because he just gets the stuff out of his head and writes it down. And he was saying that there was a time when they were in Vietnam and they were checking bags, and there was a random bag that had a little slit in it, and it started moving. And they were like, what the hell is in this bag? And so his CO, his commanding officer, was there, pulls out his gun. They unzipped the bag, and there was this like hippie inside of the bag. And they're in Vietnam. So somebody drugged the hippie, put him in a duffel bag. The hippie that was protesting the Vietnam War, drugged him, put him in a duffel bag, and shipped him over to Vietnam, and he was stuck. And so the CO had him stand up, or whomever had him stand up, raise up his right hand, and repeat it after me. He goes, "Welcome to the Army."
You're in the Army, bro. Holy cow.
Like, wow, talk about being shanghaied. That would be suck.
Yeah.
That would. It's like you fall asleep in this really great drugged stupor, and you wake up in Vietnam.
I don't think I'd want to wake up there.
Yeah, welcome to the rest of your life.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So if you open your ears and you sit down and you have a conversation, you ask open-ended questions.
And you know what? I'm going to admit, I have not been good at that, like, my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. Maybe being a professional salesperson, whatever industry that is, you got to learn that. And I can talk nonstop for a long time. Like, I was stoked to come in here, and I think I even told you, I can talk. I love talking. And my wife sometimes is like, dude, stop talking.
Stop talking.
And my youngest talks nonstop, and it's like, oh my God.
She does.
Yes.
She's very excited.
Sometimes you're just like, dude, but
and she looks like you. I mean, she's a good mix of both of you, but just her demeanor.
Yeah. She has always been. You can have like the most fun. No problem. Do anything. I'll go anywhere, do anything. It doesn't matter.
She has like golden retriever.
Yeah, I want to go do something. Sure.
Let's do it.
But at the same time, I've never wanted to headbutt a kid before. Like, sometimes.
I feel like my daughter is the same way.
Folks, I don't really do it. Don't turn me in.
Don't turn me in. What's your email?
Yeah. Give me a phone number. Send me some text.
You can find them on Facebook.
But that's probably a lot of kids. Like, you can have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, Isabel is like my doppelganger almost. So we have the same type of personality, and we're super headstrong. And so just like your daughter, we can have really great conversations, and she's just like the golden retriever type, which I am that type. Mike's like, hey, do you want to run to Home Depot? I'm like, hell yeah, I want to run to Home Depot. Let's go to Home Depot. I don't even know what we're getting.
No.
Screws,
Doesn't
whatever.
matter.
It's fine. Let's go. Batteries. What are we doing?
Yeah.
And she does the same thing. She just wants to go. Let's go for a ride. Let's do the thing. But then she gets into these moments like, lady, if you don't back up, I'm going to punch you in the throat. I'm going to punch you in the throat. And then she looks at me and she's like, try it. Because she's bigger than me now. So she's like 2 inches taller than me. And,
but do you ladies have old woman strength like us guys? Like, I know back in the day, like, I could have whooped my dad's ass. I was a football player lifting weights, and like, or at least I thought in my head I could.
No, you couldn't have. But I like that you think that way.
Yeah. But they called it old man strength, man. Like, you don't want to fight your dad. And I know, I watch the girls. I have all daughters.
Right.
They'll try to dork around with my wife.
Yeah.
And she'll be like, are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
Oh, you're old. Okay. And I just sit there and go, yeah, go for it.
Good luck.
See it. I'd love to watch this. So.
Yeah. Well, Isabel and I will play around like that. Like, she'll push me and I'll push her back. And I would say that she's definitely stronger than me.
Sure.
Like, I could outlast her, and I probably could land a punch faster than she could. But that's because I was in karate for 10 years, right? Or way back in my past. So that's kind of just like muscle memory, and she never was. And so she doesn't know how to fight other than how she thinks a fight should go, you know? So I think unless she outmuscled me, I could outlast her.
I think you could.
I would have more adrenaline and, endurance, I think.
Yeah, and you're not going to lose to her.
No, I can't.
No.
I can't.
Absolutely.
I can't lose to a child. You kidding? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That happens all the time. I mean, I can't get physical with girls to that point, but...
Right. Yeah. You can play fight or whatever.
You're not gonna...
My eyeball itches.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Got to unfurl the napkin away from the thing. Okay, there we go. Jeez. Okay. Well, you've been here talking to me for an hour.
It's been fun.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's fun just talking.
You, I was stoked.
Yeah.
I saw you post your thing and said, "Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna listen to it." And then you said, "Do you want to come on?" Oh,
and you're like, "Oh yeah, I do."
I've always had this. I think I was telling you earlier. I'm of the age, seasoned, where technology wasn't around when we were, or to this level at least.
Right.
We had cassette players and. I know you
and Discman that skipped.
Yeah.
I had the one that had the 12-second no skip. You could shake the shit out of the thing and it never skipped. Fine. It was awesome. I know.
Yeah. So things have
progressed.
Evolved. It's good. But I'm also good with not, needing technology. Mm-hmm. But this podcast thing has been popular and even more now. And I've always had this, I just want to sit and be Dan Patrick. The sports talk guy, and just talk sports. How sweet would it be to just get paid to do this every day?
Absolutely.
Whatever it is.
Well, I started it as a way, I've always wanted to have a podcast, and I started it as a way of almost like therapy, right? It's very therapeutic to just sit here and talk and have a conversation with people.
Sure.
Because conversations are dead. Nobody converses with people anymore.
No.
It's always text or a quick hello phone call. It's never a deep conversation.
No.
And it's somewhat of a hobby, so kind of making it a hobby. And if it becomes something greater, awesome.
Cool.
And if it doesn't, at the very least, I'm reducing stress. And I have a hobby.
Conversations are gone, aren't they? It's a bummer.
Yeah, nobody talks anymore.
We were just telling the girls that the phones, I said, why do I pay for a phone when every time I call you or text you, you don't answer?
Mm-hmm. You have to Snapchat them, right?
This is still called a phone, right?
Well,
the idea of a phone is that you can... Yeah, so you either have to message them. I don't have Snapchat.
Yeah, I had to download Snapchat when my son was 13 so that I could get a hold of him.
And they make me one, or did a while ago, and they're like, "Did you get the messages?" I'm like, "I don't know.
I hate using
I don't
Snapchat.
open it.
I hate using
My
it.
wife, the TikTok thing too.
I just joined TikTok for this podcast.
Wow.
And it's so funny. I get more people watching and interacting with my stuff than I do on Instagram by a mile. So on Instagram, I'll get 11 people watch my shit. And then on TikTok, it's 300 people.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Same audience size.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's
a bigger reach. It's cool.
It's hard, but we were telling them, I said, please answer the phone. Mm-hmm. My cell phone bill is out of this world.
Yeah.
And the phones are, a new iPhone's $1,500.
Yes, it is. Your daddy just wants to have a conversation with you.
Can you just answer the phone? I pay a lot of money. I have something to say. I'm not calling you every hour, but
Right.
And we were talking to them about back in the day when you had the phone that had the cord and you had to go around the corner so your parents wouldn't hear
your Friday night plans and how you were going to sneak out.
They were like, well, how do you get a hold of somebody? I'm well, you call them. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, then what if they don't answer? And well, they had message machines back in the day where you'd hit play when
you have to wait till they got home and then they answered.
Well, how would you make a plan for going somewhere after school or going to spend the night? Or they were well, once you got off school and your sports were done and you got home, then you could call them. And well, then that's way late in the day. I'm well, that's the way it was.
We didn't have instant gratification you do. Have you ever explained to your girls what it's like to be online and have somebody call your house and then you get cut off?
Or it was if someone calls you now, you see that, hey, you've got someone else on the phone before the person on the other line's getting that because it's busy. Yeah. And well, what'd you do? Well, you just have to keep trying.
You just keep trying. You just, you pick it up just
I've never been a fan of being back in my day.
Yeah.
But
hard knock life, man.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Man, it was tough.
It's tough living
Even
in a first world.
I heard someone say the other day that if you put a kid like this day and age in a room and you really want to screw with them, like you just want to mess them up big time, you put in the TV with the knobs to turn the channels like we had when we were really little.
UHF and VHF.
And the antenna on it. And then you put the rotary phone that you'd have to like six, and all the way back. And then you put the instructions in cursive.
Oh, shit.
So then you say,
have fun.
Yeah. And I mean, I guarantee they'd all be sitting there like, oh my God.
That would be a really great escape room scenario.
For these kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And don't just put it in cursive. Put it in your great-grandmother's cursive. Where we can't read it also. You know, where it's like really pointy and tiny.
My grandma used to write me notes in college.
And
cursive.
It's tiny.
Not only would she send like $4.50.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're
sure.
Like,
whatever.
Awesome.
Cool. But yeah, you try to read the letter and it's like, I have no idea what this lady said.
Love, and then you can read their name.
And I have to send it to, or take it home and have my mom read it.
Right, because you couldn't send her a picture on your phone.
No, we didn't have that. I think I got a cell phone when I was 22.
So I got my first cell phone when I was 16.
Okay.
And it was a Nokia. It didn't take pictures. And I tell my daughter all the time, and she doesn't understand the concept, that I would bring it to a special cell phone store where they sold cell phone accessories. And I got the antenna that you could screw off, and you put the one that like lights up, and then the battery was see-through purple and it lit up, and the whole front case was see-through purple. It was amazing. And it lit up, and when I was driving down the road talking on my phone, it looked like a cop car because it would just, you know, the red and blue lights on my phone lighting up, and battery lasted forever, and you could text and you could call.
Yep, that was it.
But when you text, you had to press
3 times.
Yeah, you have to press three times if you wanted to see, you know, and then so on and so forth. Yeah. Same with
we had it rough.
Yeah, same with pagers. So I had a pager.
Oh, yeah, my wife, she was just telling them about it the other day, and they're like,
and you would text each other codes. So you would text each other the numbers, and then
you
would pull out your phone.
You know you better
give me a call. You got a call. And it was always a friend or a boyfriend that did 911. Your mom and dad never did. No. Because they never used your pager. Yeah.
My wife, Melanie, was explaining the pager that she had, and they were like,
I don't understand.
What? So how did you talk to them? I'm like,
you found a payphone.
You either went to a payphone and put money in, or and they're just like, what?
Yeah,
this is crazy.
That was our first opportunity at communicating with somebody without our parents hearing. That and chat rooms.
I do remember those.
Yeah. Damn. I actually met a boyfriend in a chat room once.
You did?
Yeah. And it was a legit person, a legit human. He went to Gresham High School, of all places. And we met for the first time at Mount Hood Theater. And I had my friend go with me. And I asked him what he looked like. And he brought a friend with him. And we didn't tell him what I looked like because we were like scared that it was a pedophile or something. And so we hid at the top of the theater and we were watching for him. And when we found out that they were legit our age, we called them on over. But totally random.
It's weird.
Yeah, it is. It is. And we just, like pen pal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tough.
It is tough.
We had it rough, Erin.
We did. Well, and then when you were at Skate World, how did you get a hold of your parents when you needed a ride home? You went to the payphone.
That's true.
You pressed 0. You gave them your parents' number, and before they collect call, and before they answered, I need a ride home, and then you'd hang up the phone, and then nobody got charged.
To pay for it.
Yeah. The same way prisoners used to call
you. I think
mine
were all. We were prisoners.
Collect calls.
I feel like it was more like I will be there to pick you up at 5.
Okay.
So you can't. Now you're like, hey, my daughters, they all go spend the night or whatever. They're at this place, and just text me or call me when you're done, or
whatever.
Oh, Dad, can I stay like another hour? We're having fun. Or,
I feel like we're more on call than our parents were.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But now, or back in the day, it was like, I will be there at 5. And when they're there to pick you up and drove all the way,
you better be ready.
Get your ass in the car, or you're in trouble.
Or you're not doing that thing again.
This might be the last time you go there. Yeah, they do it all the time to me.
Yeah.
Dad,
Dad, 1 more hour.
Well, we didn't finish. We just got our food. You've been there for 3 hours.
Yeah. It's fine, Dad. Don't worry about it.
It's okay.
Yeah, just wait for me forever.
I feel like I had bedtimes, too, even when I was older. Maybe.
I
And
feel
now
like it
it's
was
just like-
implied, but it was never, for me, it was implied, but it was never enforced.
Okay.
Yeah. But I was always like,
Because I'm like
Now-
the old grumpy dad that's like,
go to bed.
it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah.
So,
My friends and I are chatting.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, whatever. As long as you're up when I
My
need you
wife's
to
a
be
lot
up.
better at this, and I was like, hey, where's the backup?
Like
it's-
a lot better at being a parent than
Well,
you
no,
thought?
no,
Like,
just
what is she a lot better at
she's
than
a
you
lot
thought?
better of like the understanding and like, oh, okay, no problem or whatever, and it's not that big a deal. And then it's school night.
Yeah.
It's 10 o'clock, and they're like, I'm 14.
I'm 14.
So
I do
what?
what I want,
I
Dad.
do what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Even so, we just had this argument the other night, or we've had it. It's an ongoing. Do you need your cell phone right next to your bed?
Mm.
Well, it's my alarm
It's
clock.
my alarm
too.
clock, yeah.
Okay, well, I can wake you up. What time do you need to get up? I get up before everybody. No, it's not. No, I need
Mm-hmm.
to. Okay. So when you go to bed, like, you're not going to look at it, right?
No,
No, it's
No,
sitting here charging.
it's fine.
Quinn, the 11-year-old, we told all the girls they have to be 12
Yeah.
before they can get a cell phone. I know that's not popular, and a lot of kids.
Your rules are your rules,
Yeah,
man.
whatever it is, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, oh, their parents are cooler. Go live with them. I don't know, but all of them turned 12 in middle school, and she's 11 and now going to 6th grade, and she's like, I need a cell phone in case I'm on the bus and something happens, or
Yeah.
and I was like, do you? And my wife's starting to get on that train.
Well,
too,
the
and I was
youngest
like,
one always gets things before
Well, yeah,
before
sure.
the oldest one. So you set the certain rules for the oldest, right?
Yeah.
And you follow those rules. And the next one comes by and you're like, yeah, whatever, I'm busy. And then the last one comes around and you're like, sure, yeah, whatever. Do you need a pacifier? What do you need? Why are you here?
You're 8. You can have.
Why are you
fun,
talking
sure.
to me?
Yeah.
How old is your oldest?
She just turned 20
Okay.
on Monday.
Yeah. Is she out of the house now?
She goes to University of Portland.
Okay.
So not super far away, and we'll
Yeah.
come home randomly here
Yeah.
and there. But
It's cool that she
She's in
moved out to
college.
do it,
Yeah.
to kind of be on her own.
I'll tell you, that was probably my greatest experience.
Mm-hmm.
Was going to college, because you got to learn how to do stuff on your own.
Sure.
and-
I don't know what that's like.
I mean,
But I got married when I was 20, and
Yeah, I think my wife
we
was
moved.
about that. way.
We moved from Portland, Oregon, to Southern California, so it wasn't like a college experience, but it was growing up real fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids.
Yeah.
Did you have kids right away?
No. Well, Mike already had Anthony.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Anthony was 4 when we got married.
You were an Insta family like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like just marry into it. Then
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about the
You
body
know what's
changes.
funny is I always said growing up or dating, whatever, like, I am never going to marry somebody that has kids already. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
Why do I need that extra
Stress,
chaos, whatever? You shouldn't say you're never going to do anything.
No.
Because then
because you just put it into the universe.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was good for me because I was used to doing my own thing and being selfish, and it's good.
Well, somebody told me once that it's the last thing you say in an affirmation that your brain hears. So I'm never going to have kids with somebody.
I'm never going to marry somebody that already has kids, and look what happened.
Yeah. So you're going to marry someone who's already.
She had a dog, 2 kids,
Yeah.
and let's get to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a dummy.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Yeah. It was the dog that set it over.
Actually, the dog was fine because when we first started dating, she lived in Bend with the girls, and
With 2 girls, right?
2 girls, yep. And they were like 2 and 3, maybe. I don't know. But then she had an apartment and couldn't, when she moved here after we were dating, she couldn't have a dog. So I got to keep the dog before we got married.
So it became your dog.
Yeah, kind of.
Nice.
So I got a dog out of it, at least, for and kids. And
No matter how it went, I got the dog.
yeah, that's right.
So,
yeah, this dog is mine.
And she's stuck in an apartment with no dogs, so even if we broke up, the dog's mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That probably would have been, maybe. I don't know.
That would have been a dick move.
And then now we just have all kinds of kids. And
yeah, and you foster kids, so
we
you
do.
have a kind of a rotating door coming in.
Yeah, last night at the Kinley had a volleyball game at Barlow, freshman volleyball game, and I get there 10 minutes after it starts coming from work, and they were already there. And the first thing my wife says to me is, we're going to have a boy for the night. And now, those of you that don't know, DHS is its own fun animal. We've done it for 6.5 years and had probably 14, 15 kids in our house during that time. The longest two were siblings that we picked up from 2 days old from the hospital each, and we had them for 3.5 and 2.5 years. And the first one, DHS or whoever was there, said, it's just for the weekend.
It's a trap.
That was one long-ass weekend.
Yeah. Well, and you still have relationships with both of them.
We do have relationships.
They come over and stay the night
frequently. They were supposed to come a couple weeks ago, and just things got a little crazy. But
how old are they now?
5 and 4, I think. So they went back to their dad a year and a half or 2 years ago. Yeah. And so.
And do you take, when you care for children, do you take in certain kinds of kids? Sounds really like I'm going for a race thing or something like that. What I mean is, do you kids that are like drug babies or fetal alcohol syndrome or things like that, or is it?
So the only stipulation that we had, just going into it, not knowing what you're doing to begin with, it was like, we have 4 daughters, and it's not these kids in foster care's fault, but some of them have seen and been through some crazy stuff.
Right.
Drugs, physical abuse, whatever it may be. So we said, okay, the girls are still, 6.5 years ago, my 20-year-old was just in high school, 14 years old. So we said, we're going to take 0 to 2 was our only stipulation.
Okay.
That way, I don't know. It sounds bad because I want to. No, help I totally get it. I want to help everyone, but I didn't want any weird, funny business with older kids.
Right. Well, you have to protect your girls.
Yeah, and they're
and maybe when they're older and they're moved out, maybe you can accept older children into your home.
So that was the only thing we said, and then, or I think it was 0 to 1 to start with, and then that's progressed to 0 to 2. Yeah. But those kids still most of the time are in a crib and a little easier, and you don't have to.
So do you have one in your home
now? We have a 2-year-old little girl that we got back in May when we still had the little boy that we had for 2 years, and he went back to his mom like a month into it, but we've had her since April, I think. So well, we usually always have some extra.
Well, it's cool that they have you, because you guys are very active in your community, so they get exposed to going to team sports and being in a family environment, and just the simple act of sitting down as a family and eating. Yeah.
It is cool, and it's fun to. I didn't think, I'm not a super emotional guy, and I didn't think, we're just going to do foster care and they'll go back to their parents. Yeah. The training you get, I'm not going to bash on anyone, but it's not really what
should be a little bit more robust.
It's not really what.
Do you get more training as a high school coach than you do as a foster parent?
Probably. You go for one weekend and get your 20 hours in, and
oh wow.
They do come check your house and make sure you don't have like a torture chamber in the basement or something like that. But it's not super intense, and it's kind of like, okay, you're ready. Really? We have 4 kids. We know we're different, but
jump in the deep end.
It's all the stuff that my wife deals with, because she's amazing. I don't know how. In general, you ladies being moms and just doing your mom thing, I don't know how you do it. Like, it's built in, I guess, and you learn stuff too, but like, I couldn't do it. Yeah. But she is amazing with these kids at home. She stays home and deals with, there's doctor's visits and all the parents.
And so she's a full-time stay-at-home caretaker mom.
She stays home.
That's a big job.
Yeah,
That's a really hard
Way
job.
back in the day, she worked too, and she would work at the hospital like nights and weekends here and there.
Yeah.
And then I would stay home with kids, and we kind of traded. And not only did we not see each other a bunch,
Right.
but it's too much for me, I guess, too.
Yeah.
It's just too much to deal with.
It's a lot.
So, okay, we're not going to make your money, but we're not going to have to pay for daycare, which was basically what her money was going to, basically, extra. We didn't make any extra because...
And there's more time to cook at home and do those types of things.
And we had grandparents that were around and would take care of them, so that was always good, too. But we just made a decision, like, hey, you stay home, raise our own children.
Yeah.
That's why you have kids, or most people. And then we started doing this, and it was like, yeah, there's no way that you could work too.
Right.
And she's good at it, man. She kicks ass.
Yeah.
I don't know, between that is a full-time job with those kids because of, like I said, doctor's visits. They still visit their parents a couple times a week. They got to do, the one we have now has OT and PT on the same day. Like today, I think, was her OT and PT day, and just, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And then you're still keeping up your house and taking care of your own children.
Right.
And like, yeah.
It's a lot of work.
She's
that's
amazing.
Very cool.
I would not be able to do it without her for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure she wouldn't be able to do it without you
well,
also. I mean, it takes a team, right? And then
I support the best I can.
Well, and the girls probably put in a little bit of effort here and there,
They've been amazing. It's not an easy thing to split your time as parents that they would normally get.
Yeah.
When you got especially babies. And majority of them, it's drug issues. So they take them out of the house because of drugs or whatever the situation is.
Which is usually why you would have an infant.
Yeah. Yeah, they have drugs in their system when they're born, so the hospital gets DHS involved. And so that's mainly what it is. But, we needed a room for just them.
Yes.
So now my two youngest have shared a room. And the older girls did too before, but they're like, I need my own room. And like, with this many kids, like...
So what do you have, a 4-bedroom house?
We have a 5-bedroom.
Oh.
Which still the little girls share a room. And now that our oldest went to college, they're like, you're out, bro. Like, I need a bedroom to myself. And she's like, well,
you're not coming back.
Where am I going to sleep?
The couch is where you're sleeping.
So that was one thing. And I'm not kicking her out. She's in college. And she's not like moved out fully.
Right.
Comes home breaks in summertime. But I was like, I kind of remember not having a bedroom.
Yeah. Well, her sisters have kicked her out.
Well, yeah.
It's Lord of the Flies over there.
So the compromise this year was my 14-year-old is going to sleep in there and have some of her stuff, and you're going to be respectful because she still has some of her stuff that she didn't take. You can't move everything to college.
Sure.
And you're not going to trash it because the 14-year-old is slightly messy and doesn't care.
Yeah.
And, I got stains on your comforter? Oh.
We all have one of those.
My bad.
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
Sorry about your loss.
So we compromised this year, and she's sleeping in there. And so kind of moved out. So everybody has their own space.
Yeah. Well, it's really cool what you guys do. I've watched from afar. I've been to sporting events and stuff with you guys, and your wife's always cuddling a child of some sort. And as a mom, I know that having a child on you all the time is hard.
Oh yeah,
it's hard. And so
what's funny is us guys want to spend some time with our wives too, and she'd be like, I am literally touched out, bro.
Yeah, don't.
I'm like, I haven't even been home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but you don't have any idea, and like, please don't even hug me.
Yeah, give me 5 minutes. I need a hot shower. Stay away.
And at first, it's like, dude, I'm your husband.
Right.
But I'm starting to see it now and see those things where, she's always got a kid on her, or these kids have trauma too.
Yeah.
So
they need a lot of skin-to-skin contact.
And they're a little more, they can be challenging more too, depending. The nice thing with the younger is that a lot of them were picked up from the hospital. They're just a couple days old, so we can get our parenting ways instilled early.
Teach them the things.
Yeah, so they don't have bad habits, so to speak, or whatever. But
right. Well, they'll always have bad habits.
they will. Yeah, they're kids.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
I didn't do stupid stuff when I was little.
You're such a liar.
I know. That's what.
Shut up.
Yeah. Was I that dumb? Okay.
Yeah, we all were. We all did something.
I mean,
stupid.
what have we had? It's a joke, but I think forks in the microwave a couple times, and just you're like,
yeah.
Then I have to talk to my dad or something and be like,
did I do this?
Was I that?
Yeah. My son microwaved dry top ramen once.
I heard that was not good.
No, it's not good. It's not a good idea. It does not work out for your porcelain bowls.
Yeah. No, that's not good.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was a lot smarter and better when I was little.
You weren't.
I'm pretty
you
sure.
were dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens.
Well, you know that because you've watched your own children do stupid things. But you learn from your stupid things, and then you grow, and then, you move on. And it's because of those lessons that you become the human that you are.
True.
Right? So the more of those lessons you go through.
That's the hardest part about parenting, and my wife and I have had conversations about it, is like, I mean, you hear it, like, let them fail, or they need to learn the hard way, or whatever term you want to use. But you don't want them to.
No, you don't. No.
But
they have to learn.
I don't want them to get Fs, and it makes me mad.
Yeah. It's a double-edged sword. I don't want them to fall and skin their knee or whatever. Yeah.
I don't want them to suck at sports, or not make a team.
Right.
That's devastating.
It is. It is.
I mean, I was a super fly athlete, so I never got cut. But,
It's just because your dad knew people. He was paying them off.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
That's true. Yeah.
He's like, I'll come umpire a game if
you
let my son on your team.
Yeah, please let my son on my team. Well, it's funny because my daughter this year tried out for volleyball. And there's a lot of girls that try out at Barlow.
Okay.
I mean, maybe at every school, but they do a lot of cuts. And a couple of her friends... You mentioned it before when you said, like, some of these kids have played since they were my daughter's played soccer since she was 4.
Right.
So you're a little bit ahead of the game for the kids that just come out in high school or whatever. And my 14-year-old just started playing volleyball a couple years ago, and I had the conversation. There might be girls that have been playing for 8+ years, and you've been playing for 2, so you either need to work harder or whatever, if you really want to make this team, because it's competitive.
Yeah.
We're in high school.
Yeah.
And contrary to popular belief, you still want to win.
Yes, you do.
Every time you play.
You do.
Especially as you get to, I coached varsity baseball for a few years and have taken a little hiatus, but...
there's perks to winning the older you get. You can move on. There's more playing time available to you.
But she had a couple friends from her club team that I think have played a little longer. Yeah. And they made JV instead of... Well, they call it JV2 now. It's a freshman team, but maybe a couple sophomores. But she was a little...
Well, my 7th grade year, I made varsity volleyball, and we won state. Ooh. And then my 8th grade year, they put me on JV. Shit happens. Yeah. I was never on a club team. My parents looked at me and laughed and said, no, we're not paying for that. They could have afforded it. I think what they saw in me was like you see with people who pay for club sports for their kids, and then their kids just fiddle fart around.
Into this,
I feel like I'm one of those fiddle farters. And so they recognized it.
Now, let me be clear. That's not bad. The experience is great. And if the parents want to pay all that money, so be
but
it.
If you're going to be a fiddle farter, you got to be on the JV team or the freshman team, right? Or a lower team, because those people, those athletes who make those varsity teams, they're in it to play hard. And if you're not in it to play hard, get out.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, because you're dragging me down because I want to win. And then the more it gets more competitive in high school, because now you have scouts coming out and looking at you for a possible opportunity to play in college or further. Yeah.
So she's competitive, the volleyball player, but she just hasn't played as much. So and being competitive, making the freshman team versus a couple friends making JV was a little blow to the ego, and not so excited. Tough. But you know what? Then go show the coach how bad you want it.
Yeah. Show them that you're willing to work hard.
If you need to stay after and say, hey, coach, if a kid came to me after 2 hours of practice and said, will you throw me some more pitches so I can hit, or hit me some more ground balls or whatever, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. My husband stays all the time for those kids. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. No questions asked. So I said, I don't know if it's a girl thing, but I'm not going to do that. But like, go,
I don't want to put myself out there.
Go, I guess. But go tell the coach.
Yeah.
Can you hit me some more volleyballs or whatever? Yeah. So it's fun.
Or choose a friend and do it with them.
True.
Hopefully a friend that's more competitive and not one that's
fiddle
farting around.
I was trying to remember what you said.
You don't want a me out there. I'll drill you, but I'm not going to teach anything. Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you coming out today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, good. Well, you'll have to come back again then.
I would love it.
Yeah, and maybe we'll talk about something a little bit more cliche or,
Politics. Oh, wait.
Yeah, let's get in it.
You might regret that.
One of us is going to cry.
No, I mean, we barely said it earlier, but like, you can have your opinion. I'm fine.
Yeah.
It's all good.
It's just conversation.
I don't know why people get so uptight. I might not agree with you, but
I think it's because people stop listening.
True.
Because instead of being actively listening, they don't listen. They're just forming their next response.
That happens in marriage too.
Yes, it does. Active listening is
hard.
hard.
I'm trying to think of what my response is going to be while I'm not listening.
So I don't forget it. Yeah. So what I've started doing is in meetings, I'll have a notebook out. And if I think of something, because I don't interrupt you because I think what I have is more important. I interrupt you because if I don't, I'll forget. And I'm super excited that I want to tell you the thing.
I am going to use that in the next argument at home because I always...
Use a notepad and just write a note real quick. What is it? And then keep listening. What I'm doing
is like I'm trying to... I don't want to lose my kick-ass point that's going to...
Right. Yeah.
Get it.
Get
her. I'm going to get her back.
Yeah, you are.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
But
then you forget.
Then she talks for a while and then I'm like, crap.
I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah. Happens to me all the time.
I'm not very good at taking notes though.
It's just one word. I don't know if I'd have a notebook out talking to my husband though, but in a meeting... or something like that. I have no notebook.
Don't worry about that. Yeah. I always wonder. I'm like, how did you...
It's all up here.
Yeah,
it's all in our brain holes.
Like 3 weeks ago, or and then like, do you remember our conversation?
About remind me. Give me a playback. Well, I think that's why in sports they do playbacks because you guys aren't fully paying it. Actually, you guys pay attention way more in sports. Maybe what you need to do when you have an argument is start playing baseball or something, and then you can have an argument while you're playing baseball, and you'll probably remember everything.
Babe, put this uniform on. Oh wait, never mind. That was not what you were getting at.
No,
okay.
No, you're gonna keep that.
Okay.
Keep that to yourself.
I'll keep that.
Chico. All
Thank
right.
you though.
Yeah, thank you. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
You bet.
Bye.
Bye.